Hi guys, Andy here. I've got another head-to-head for you today. On the left is Samsung Galaxy S7 Edge. On the right, the Google, or maybe Huawei, Nexus 6P. So this is obviously the international version of the S7 Edge, so it's running the Exynos 8890 Octa chipset. It's got quad-core 2.3 GHz Mongoose and a quad-core 1.6 GHz Cortex A53 CPUs with a Mali T880 MP12 GPU and 4 GB of RAM. On the right, the Nexus 6P has a Qualcomm Snapdragon 810 chipset, quad-core 1.55 GHz Cortex A53 and a quad-core 2 GHz Cortex A57 with an Adreno 430 GPU and 3 GB of RAM. I'm going to start things off with the fingerprint sensor test. That looked pretty much a dead heat. So we'll have another go. That was the S7 Edge quite clearly. 6P looked quite slow on that occasion. I'm not sure if I did something wrong. I did do something wrong that time. I basically missed it slightly, so it didn't get a proper read. We'll try once more. Oh, that was very close. I think it's impressive. Samsung on the Note 5, the Note 5 isn't as quick as the 6P, that's for sure. But with the S7 Edge, they clearly have caught back up. Actually, to be fair, it might be Marshmallow, because when I tested the Note 5, it wasn't on Marshmallow. Anyway, we'll move on to Angry Birds 2 opening test. I know from experience the S7 Edge is pretty quick in this department. So I would imagine that it is the favourite. But let's see how it gets on. Now, I'm not sure I've seen it before. See, on the 6P, it's gone backwards. The progress bar was going backwards there. I don't quite know what that was about, but it looks like the S7 Edge, there we go, is victorious on the Angry Birds opening test. If I can then just get out of it, we'll wait for the 6P to finish. Come on 6P, there we go. And quick login, and it's there. So we'll then move on to, if I, again, get out of the game on the 6P. We'll then move on to Geekbench 3, the benchmarking test. Don't know quite why it opened up in landscape. Again, we'll get some confirmation there of the specs of each device. We'll go ahead and start it up, but as usual, I will cut to the final result, and we see the S7 Edge coming in 6,395. Very high scores. I don't hold much hope for the 6P getting anywhere close to that, to be honest. And here it comes with 4,258. So yeah, it's a fairly clear victory for the Nexus 6P. But maybe to be expected. I mean, the S7 Edge is a good £100 or £200 more and 6 months newer. We're going to head outside for the GPS test. You can see a few specks of rain on the screens actually there. But I mean, in theory, I'm slightly covered in the shelter. Now we see here the S7 Edge does what the Note can do, and it basically remembers the GPS positioning. The 6P did take a good sort of minute or so to get a lock, so I figured you didn't want to see that. We're going to move on to the screen brightness test. So I'm going to turn off auto brightness on both of the devices. Then I've got a perfect white screen. There we go. And I think you can see already the S7 Edge slightly brighter. 881 there for a second. Is a pretty damn impressive score, to be honest. The Nexus 6P managing the mid 600s. So clearly the S7 Edge, relatively easy victor on the screen test too. And we're going to move on to the speaker test.
Tell me where to go, tell me what to do. I'll be right there for you. Tell me what to say, no matter if it's true. Tell me where to go, tell me what to do. I'll be right there for you. Tell me what to say, no matter if it's true. I'll say it all for you, for you, for you. I'll say it all for you, for you, for you. I'm fine long as there's batteries in my Walkman, nothing's the matter with me. Look on the bright side. At least I ain't walking, I bike ride through the neighborhood of my apartment. I ain't walking, I bike ride through the complex on a 10-speed, which I've acquired parts of.
Now I think the S7 Edge is actually quite an impressive speaker, but it really can't compare to the dual stereo front-facing speakers of the 6P. We'll move on to the spoken voice, so to see how that sounds.
Essentially gave organizations like GCHQ and the NSA a free rein to go do mass surveillance. It also essentially gave organizations like GCHQ and the NSA a free rein to go do mass surveillance. Now we're in the situation where people are clamoring for the Googles and the Facebooks. It also overturned a lot of the rules and laws, and now we're in the situation where
providers and search engine providers are being overwhelmed, quite frankly, with inquiries about various use cases, who the users.
There's probably less to choose when you move over to the spoken voice, but the 6P fairly easily does have the better speaker setup, which again is no particular surprise with its stereo front-facing speakers. They really are very good. I'm moving on to the browser test. Cleared both of the browser histories and set them both to not to prefetch pages, so neither of them gets a head start. The BBC website, I don't know why it's not coming up unless I type in right now. Let's try and type them at the same time. The S7 Edge fairly easily wins and gives me a pop-up. Both nice and smooth. Both good whites, I would say, as well, for that matter. While we're there, so we're going to move on to the second one, which is NFL.com, and the 6P edging ahead. Both of them still loading. The 6P looks like it's going to finish loading the actual page first, and it does. So it's 1-1. So we'll move on to the deciding website, theverge.com, and again try and get it at the same time. 6P slightly ahead, but then maybe the S7 Edge. In fact, the S7 Edge is going to finish loading. Yep. So yeah, only just the S7 Edge takes the browser test. So really, pretty dominant display by the S7 Edge there. The only thing really it can't compete with is the speakers. But everything else, very, very good. Really quite impressive. So there you go. It will cost you if you want to go for what you could say is the best, unless you want obviously pure stock Android on a Nexus device. Then the 6P still packs a decent enough punch. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. My name's Andy. I'll catch you all again soon.